Hello everyone, it's Eddie the Chump coming back for another video after about a week off. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was really busy, so I'm getting back to it. This video is going to be a getting to know me, sort of part 2. The other one was that sniper one where I sort of rambled on about SNESes and stuff. So this one's going to be a little bit more focused, I think. Okay, let's get started. Right, let's talk about the schools that I went to. Right, I went to in Britain. We've got what's called a secondary school system, so that's from the age of like 10 to 16. I went to Priory School in Lewes, where I had my first really good teacher that I can remember. His name was Mr. Harrington. He was my graphic design teacher, can you believe? My design technology teacher. And he was the first person to kind of foster sort of any sense of creativity or wanting to do a creative job. He was the very first person to encourage me, really, that I can properly remember, say, apart from my parents, first person to like really encourage what I wanted to do. It was mainly a happy time. Yeah. I left with 9.5 GCSEs, which allowed me to go on to college. And the college I went to is actually a really good college. It's called Basvic. It's in Brighton. It's one of the best colleges in the country. It's not like a private school. You don't have to pay or anything, but it's renowned as being really good. And there I studied photography A-level, history A-level, and media studies A-level. Now, I was the last year of the old A-levels, so I didn't do any AS levels or anything like that. I just did A-levels. And I had a really amazing teacher there as well, my photography teacher called Jane, which I was there for 2 years, and I got her in my second year, and she really encouraged me and made me push on, and I ended up getting an A for photography A-level. And it's always been an interest of mine, you know. I'd loved film. I still do love film, but my interest was primarily like the photography side of it. So, you know, like when I was younger, I wanted to be a cinematographer. And I studied photography at A-level because I wanted to go on and do that and study film, and that's what I did. And she really encouraged me. She really, you know, took me to one side at one point and said, "Look, you've got potential. You should work at this." You know, and that's the first time that someone had said, you know, it doesn't matter that you maybe naturally are talented at something, but you really have to work at it if you want to be any good. And I remember that being quite a formative experience, you know, like learning how to do things like that. I then went on to Falmouth University, or University College Falmouth as it's now known. That's renowned as like one of the best art colleges or art schools in the country, and I studied film studies there, which was at the time quite a new course, but I wanted to go there for the practical side. I wanted to learn production. That's what I wanted to do. Like I said, I wanted to be a cinematographer. I wanted to learn about lighting and cameras and all that kind of stuff for motion pictures, you know, not just stills, because I already knew that because I did photography A-levels and stuff. And I'd done studio shoots and stuff and assisting work, you know, over the summer in between college and university. So I wanted to get into production. I wanted to be a cinematographer, as I've said before. And I kind of, not that university was a misstep, but what happened at university is that when you go, because it's primarily an academic institution, they have to justify the course's existence by making you take an academic approach to film theory and things like that. And to be perfectly honest, I couldn't be less interested in stuff like that. I just want to learn how to make stuff, you know. You know, I make YouTube videos out of Call of Duty. I like making stuff. That's my incentive for doing it. I don't really care about people's opinion about art or anything, especially people who don't make art. I really don't care about their opinions. So I didn't care about the academic side of it, and it wasn't a misstep. I learned a lot there. I've never learned that I didn't know anything more times than when I was at uni, and that's the best lesson you can ever learn, is everything that you think you know is probably wrong. You know, I learned that more times at university than anywhere else, so that was the great thing about it. I did learn quite a lot about production, but and this is a really true lesson. Anyone who's creative will tell you this. Anything that you learn that's of any use whatsoever will usually be off your own bat. Right? It will usually be off your own incentive and drive. Like no teacher will provide the answers for you. If you want to learn how to edit, you want to learn how to do sound production, you want to learn how to do anything that's cool, you'll probably learn it yourself. If you're motivated enough, you will be able to do it. And that's what I learned at uni as well. You know, my education is my responsibility. So if I wanted to learn how to be a cinematographer, that was that was me. I had to do that. You know, I couldn't learn it from a book. I couldn't learn it from any specific teacher. I had to go out with a camera and do it and learn the techniques and do research and do all that. And that was all my responsibility. That's a great lesson to learn, actually. Anyone out there who wants to do stuff, that's what you have to do. So yeah, those were the schools that I went to. I did get a job in film and television after I left uni. I was incredibly fortunate to do that. After uni, what happens after university traditionally is that people go through about 6 months of like the most hardcore depression of their life, because up until that point in their lives, and when they're a child, their life has sort of been planned out, or at least mine was. You know, my parents encouraged me to take education seriously and to get qualified in something, or to, you know, to get good at something. And then after I finished uni, there was this kind of hole, I suppose, where I was like, right, well, I've done all that, so now what's the plan? So yeah, for about 6 months, it was just really bad depression. And then I became motivated to get my CV together, to get a portfolio of the work I'd done, and to start applying for jobs. And pretty much one of the first jobs I applied for in London, I got, which was incredibly lucky. And that job in London, I worked on, well, in Soho as an editor for a film and television company, and I edited documentaries, I edited trailers, I edited loads of stuff that you would have seen. I won't go into it, it's too much work. I worked there for 1.5 years, and when you do a creative job like that, you're just working so hard all the time to such pressure deadlines. You do so much work, eventually you can't tell the difference what should go in your CV and what shouldn't. It's all the same after like so much work. So yeah, I won't tell you what I worked on, but it was a lot of stuff. And that job, I learnt to know that what I thought was so wasn't quite a lot of the time. All the preconceptions I had about production and how it should be in inverted commas didn't mean anything. You know, it's a real production when money's on the line for people is a totally different environment to any educational facility, any place that tells you how to use a camera or how to edit. Like, that's all, it's so relaxed, you know. Production's not like that. Production is time is money, you know, and the people that you work for, it's in their interest to make you work as hard as possible, because they need to make as much money as possible, because just the rents in that part of London, if you don't know, Soho is the production capital of London. It's right in the centre of London. The rents are ridiculous for the studios to hire the spaces. So, you know, the wages aren't as high as you would necessarily expect them to be, and you work a lot more hours. That's just the way it is in production, I'm afraid. That's part of the reason why I left, actually, and became freelance, which is what I am now. But yeah, that's a story for another time. Like, if you want to get a job in production or something creative, be prepared to work really hard. You know, I don't want to, you know, I know people watching this, if it ever becomes popular, my channel, people will be like, okay, well, how do I do what you do? Well, there are certain realities about production and about cool jobs like this that they're not negative, but they're just par for the course. And one of those is extremely long hours, not as good pay as you think, but it's the work. You know, I always wanted to do good work. Like, I always wanted to be good at stuff, you know. And actually, that job in London is where I learned to do motion graphics, you know, like the intro sequence to my channel. I recorded the music myself, I did all the graphics, I did all the design, So it served me well. You know, I've got a lot of skills, but it was really hard work. Anyway, that was the end of the video. I ended up 41 and 5, can you believe, with the USAS. Started off slow, but it got good. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon.